Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl DeAndra and I'm back with another video. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more of a story time video, and I'm going to tell you how I went from 0 to 6 figures in under a year with my creative business, Party Shop Avenue. I'm not going to go too in depth because my story is long. It's honestly book worthy, but I'm going to give you guys some points and tips that were really life changing for me and made me the person that I am today, sitting right before you. So if you want to listen, stay along for the ride. It's actually a very inspirational story, and I feel like anyone who wants to start their own business, this story will definitely inspire you to get up, do what you have to do, and get there. So let's get started. So for starters, I was born and raised in Northridge, California, and I have lived here my whole life. I grew up with my 2 sisters and my mom. She was a single mother, and she was an entrepreneur. So I did have that entrepreneurial influence in my face growing up, but I honestly didn't understand what it was at the time. My mother has still a hair salon, and she's been doing hair for over 40 years. So I was raised in that environment, and it taught me so much. It really taught me how to be a people person and understand different conversations, because I heard it all in the hair salon. Okay. So growing up, I had my troubles like everyone does. My dad left me at a young age and kind of disowned me. So I had a lot of struggles and hardships that I had to get through, especially as an adult now. But honestly, pivoting off of that, like, I went to therapy and it really changed the game for me. So growing up was a great experience. My mom tried to make it the best that she could, and I was a very creative kid. I love painting. I was crafty, and I didn't know what was going to come out of that. I was just a kid living my best life. So as I grew up, I went to college. I went to SMC. I ended up dropping out because I just felt like school was not for me. Like, I wanted to kind of follow that path. Like, everybody wanted me to go to school, but I was like, I know that I'm going to be successful, and it's not going to be this way. So I decided to drop out, and I ended up going to beauty school because hair is in my blood. I'm a 3rd generation hairstylist. So I was like, I know how to do hair. Let me just go make a career out of it. And that's what I did. And I did hair for almost 3 to 4 years. And it was great until I came to a point where I felt like, am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for my family? So I had to make a decision, and I decided to leave the hair industry. It was kind of a hard time for me because I didn't want to disappoint my mother and not carry on the legacy, because my other 2 sisters didn't want to really do hair. And she was so proud that I got my license and all those things. So I was kind of nervous, but my mom actually was very supportive, and she wanted me to do what was best for me, and I love my mom for that. And so I decided to go on my own journey and figure out who I wanted to be and what made me happy. And so once I left the hair industry, I always had this burning passion for the event industry. I loved decorating. I loved parties, different things like that. So I was like, I want to get in the event industry. I want to be a wedding planner. So I ended up quitting the hair industry and went to I actually picked up a job as an HR manager. And I was in HR for a while. And it was just a job to make money so that I can pursue my passion on the side. So the wedding planning was like a side hustle, and I worked for someone else, so it wasn't like my full time, like I had to find the couples and all those things. I kind of was more of like a wedding planner assistant, so I can just get my feet wet and understand the industry. So I would do the weddings on the weekends and work during the week. And I remember working for one of my bosses, because I had, in this time, I think it was like between like 3 years of me just like side hustling and doing other things, just trying to figure my way out. My last boss was an interior designer, and he was a great boss. One of the most important people that kind of changed my life in that moment, because if he didn't do what he did, I'd probably be where I am, but it probably wouldn't have panned out the way that it did. Working for him, it was very hard to work for him, because I was his office manager, his personal assistant, and I had to handle everything that happened in the office, like everything. So I was basically doing 2 to 3 people's job in one. So I was underpaid, I was stressed, plus I was trying to have a side hustle on the side. It was stressful, and I hated going to work every day. I lived in the Valley, and my job was in West Hollywood, so I had this crazy commute every day. Life was just like, what's going on? Like, is this what life is about? It just wasn't clicking. I was like, this is crazy that I have to do all of this. I just want to pursue my passions. So flash forward, I was working for him, and one weekend in particular, I had a big wedding in Palm Springs that I had to go work. And I told him this 2 months prior, like, I have a wedding, here's my vacation request form, I can't be here. That week, he wants to decide to open up his new design store, and he needed me to be there for the launch. And I was like, I already told you that I have a job, like I put my request in. He was like, this is insane. He was so upset with me, and I was just like, I put my request in. And I just was like, I'm gonna focus on me. I'm doing what I gotta do, and this is on my time. Like, you want to open up your store on a time when I requested days off, like, that is your problem. I gotta do what I gotta do. So I went to my event, and I remember coming back to work that Monday, and the whole office environment, it just felt off. It felt different, and I knew something wasn't right. I knew he was very disappointed that I wasn't there and all of that. So it is what it is. Well, I had my shift. I thought he was going to talk to me, pull me in his office or something. I didn't know what was going to happen next. So I did my shift, and at the end of my shift, he called me into his office, and he usually leaves early, but he stayed all day this day. And I went into his office, and he had a bouquet of flowers, a paper and a pen, and a check. And I was like, oh, this is that moment where I'm getting fired. I've never been fired before, so I was just like, okay, so I'm getting fired. And I remember the feelings that were going through my body, like, oh my God, what am I gonna do next? But in a way, I was kind of happy, because I was like, I don't have to work for you anymore. I gotta just, now maybe this is the fuel I needed. So we sat down and we had this conversation, and this was the game changer for me. He sat me down and he said, years ago, I was hustling and bustling, trying to become the best interior designer, a lead interior designer. And I remember someone doing this for me, so I want to pay it forward and do it for you. I was laid off because the person believed in my dreams, and they believed in my hopes, and they gave me permission to fulfill my dreams. So he said, I'm going to lay you off, get about 6 months of unemployment, take that time, figure out everything you want to do within your business, and use this time wisely. This is your moment. Someone did this for me, now I want to do this for you. And I was kind of like, oh my gosh. Like, this is that groundbreaking moment where I had to either take it by the reins and just go for it, or sit in this despair of like, why did this happen to me? Like, I don't have a job now. Like, it could have went either way. But I took that moment and I was like, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate my flowers, my check. I'm out of here. Never looked back. And that day I decided I'm never going to work for anyone ever again. I'm never going to allow anyone to have that much control over my life, my income. I'm not having it ever again. And so moving forward, I was thankful because he did give me the permission to really pursue my dreams, because I was just trying to dip my toe into the water. Like, I wasn't diving in. I was too scared. I was so fearful of the unknown and not knowing what's going to happen next that I never really just took that leap of faith and just did it. But he gave me the permission to do that. And I had this weight that was lifted off my shoulders. But I did have the emotions of fear. I didn't know what was next. I didn't know how unemployment worked. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was still in that area of confusion because this is the first time I was laid off. But I figured it out. And I took that 6 months to really go hard in the paint. I was picking up freelance jobs for other events. Planners and designers. I was doing whatever I could to make extra money, and I was really focused. That was like a focus zone. And I was in a relationship at the time. We actually lived together, and I feel like when I was starting my business, it probably was one of the reasons why we ended up separating. But I just was so focused. I was focused on getting somewhere because I knew I wanted to be more. And I knew I had a purpose in this world, and I needed to pursue that. And it's either you're gonna stick here and ride it out with me and we're gonna do this together, or I gotta just figure this out on my own. So I had a lot of epiphanies, and I just was like, I love the event industry, and I love designing. I love making people happy. I love bringing events together, and just it gives me such joy and fulfillment. And I wanted to create something for myself. So mind you, I was still working part-time for this other event planner, but I decided to part ways from her company for some other reasons. And I was really on my own. I had to figure this out. So I came across this huge installation of balloons, and it was crazy, and it was by this artist named Geronimo. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I want to do something similar to that. Like, this is really cool. And I was very inspired by her. And that's why every time I mention, if I do a podcast or anything, she was a real inspiration, and I have to give credit where credit is due. She really inspired me to start this business because she was doing some dope installs. So I decided to take that idea and like make it my own, though. That's what I did. I didn't really steal like her idea, like balloons are balloons, but I made it my own, and I scaled them down and made it for your everyday event. So I had to do all of the hard work. I had to create a business plan, get a designer to design my logo, because honestly, Canva, it was not what it is today back then. This was like 6 years ago. I had to just really build this business from the ground up. And I was trying to figure out different ideas. Like, honestly, Party Shop Avenue started off as a curated party good supply business where I was selling beautiful plates, napkins, cups, banners, all types of stuff for parties. And I curated it because I found vendors who had beautiful supplies and sold them in my shop. But I was like, this is not going to generate enough revenue for me to succeed in having my own business. I still have to freelance for others. I think I started my business with like $1,000 that I had. And I just went full throttle, and I was like, I'm going to add in balloon services. We're going to do designs. And I just started going for it. And being in the industry, I met some great friends who were planners, and I just shout out emails like, hey, this is my new business I'm starting. If you ever need balloons, let me know. And I had to do a lot of groundwork. It was hard work. There was nights where I was like, why did I sign up for this? Like, what? Why am I doing all this work? And so I was ready, because I was like, I made a promise to myself that I'm never gonna go work for somebody again. So I gotta put this effort in. And what I did after that was I just start networking. I start getting out there, showcasing my work, showcasing what I could do. Because, in the events community, it's hard for people of color. Like, it's a predominantly white community. And for me to try to weave my way in, I did the best that I could. And honestly, when I first started my business, I didn't even really showcase myself that much on my page. I had a couple pictures here and there, but it was mainly about my work and what I could bring to the table. I think in this industry, the people of color, we have to work 10 times harder to be seen and noticed in this field. So I had to do that work. And I remember when I first started my business, I did a lot of work for free. And I didn't know any better, because I was just trying to make something out of nothing. I picked opportunities that were going to be beneficial for me, not for them. If someone came and said, hey, can you do pretty balloons for my baby's first birthday? I'll shout you out. I would really research them, see what their followers are like, see if they would be showcasing my work to my ideal client, and see if it works on both sides. If it didn't and it just benefited them, I wasn't doing it, because at the end of the day, if I'm not gonna get anything out of this, I'm not putting anything in it. So it was a lot of trial and error. And I remember, though, one of my first installs that kind of went viral was one that I did at the Viviana in downtown. It's like this beautiful venue. And I remember them posting my work on one of their feeds. I think it was on Facebook or something. And I started getting traction, and I was like, okay, so all of this hard work is paying off. And people start contacting me, and things start to shift. And I just was putting in the work. I don't know how much I can emphasize that. It's really a lot of work to be an entrepreneur. It really is. It's not for the weak. Another thing that helped me grow my business is I did a few bridal shows, and I found couples who wanted to have my balloon designs at their wedding. And I just started growing my business from there, and meeting different vendors in the field and just connecting. And they would refer me business, I would refer them business. And that's kind of just how I grew my business authentically. And then after that, start coming in influencers and celebrities and big brands. I was seeing this dream manifest right before my eyes. Like, I was like, I created this. I can't even believe it. And I remember one surreal moment for me was when I was hired to do Creators Day for Ipsy in New York. And they flew me out, all expenses paid, because there was no balloon designers doing my style out there. So they flew me out there, and I woke up the next morning and my balloons were on Good Morning America. And it was just like, I was so thankful that I took a risk on myself, because I knew that I knew I had purpose, and I knew that I had this passion and drive to do more than just sitting in this office. I knew that there was more for me in this world, so I had to create it. And I would talk to God all the time, and honestly, God is like the leader of this journey for me. He's guided me through so many things. There would be times where I'll be stressed about how I'm gonna get rent paid, because when you are an entrepreneur, everything's on you. Like, you ain't getting no vacation days. If things don't go right, you still got to figure it out. And he would just always come through for me with different opportunities. And I feel like once you do decide to take that leap of faith and do whatever your heart desires, it just happens. It really does. And people that I've been able to work with, the doors and opportunities that I've walked through, it just blows my mind. And it was just all from just taking a leap of faith and believing in myself and trusting the process. And I just want you guys to know that I didn't come from the best circumstances. I had a lot of trials and tribulations that I had to get through, and I had to really fight. Nothing was given to me at all, and it was just all out of pure hard work and dedication and devotion to my greater purpose and my greater being. I had so many moments where I'm like so thankful for where I'm at, but then so many moments where I'm like, this is so much pressure on me. But it's gonna be like that as an entrepreneur. You're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs, you're gonna have times where you wanna give up. But when you know your why and you know your purpose and your gift, you're never gonna give up on yourself. You're just gonna keep going and get there. And I wanted to share my story because I just want other people who are maybe coming from the same situation that I came from, who have fears of just overcoming adversity and obstacles and like feeling like they can't, feeling like they're stuck where they are because of their circumstances. And that's so not true. You can do so much with your life. You can be anything you want to be in this world. I swear to you, because I started my business from zero and now it's a 6-figure business consistently and consecutively over the past 6 years. And I went in not knowing what I was doing. I kind of just was winging it, but I made it work for me. I just want you guys to know, if you are fearful of starting something, you're fearful of taking that leap, I just want you to know that it's so much more on the other side. But I also want to say one thing, that if you have a 9-to-5 and you feel fulfilled in what you do, you feel happy when you go to work every day, you feel purpose in whatever industry that you are working in and your environment, just know it's okay. I feel like that's another misconception that everyone has, that everyone has to be an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. It's really not. It's something that you have to grow to love and want to put in that work every day. And you're going to be living in a state of the unknown a lot of the time. So if you feel like you can get through that, then entrepreneurship is probably for you. But if you need that security blanket and that calmness, like that calm environment, then maybe you should stay doing what you're doing and just create a side hustle. Side hustles are awesome too. You can still have your security blanket, but then you can have your little business on the side. And as it's growing, maybe one day it turns into something huge and you can just gradually leave your job, if that's what happens. But I just want people to know that just fulfilling your purpose, finding your passion is where it's at, and really believing in yourself and getting to the next level. As a woman of color, I have to say that I am proud of myself. And I'm so proud that I just took that risk. I feel like I do inspire my peers and my community, and I'm doing this for a reason. And I know there's so much more to my story, and I know that I'm going to make a difference however I can. And I just know that it's so possible for you guys to do whatever it is you want to do. Just get over those fears, get over that self-doubt, stop making the excuses, and just try it. And if you fail, like I said before, fall in love with failure, get back up, dust your knees off, dust your shoulders off, whatever you gotta do, and keep going. So I just hope that my story has inspired you, and just know that you can be a success. You can turn a business from 0 to 6 figures in under a year. You can do whatever you want to do, and you can be whoever you want to be. Don't let anyone sit and laugh at your dreams, because I've had that too. When I said I was going to start a balloon business, people were like, okay. And especially when I said my pricing, they were like, no one's going to pay that. But guess what? People are paying it, and I'm making the money that I want to make, and people are fine with paying the price. So just know your worth, charge your value, and kill it, because you can do it. So with that being said, that's all for today's video. I do want to share that if you need motivation or business tips, I do have a weekly newsletter that I send out every Tuesday, and I will leave the link in the description. Feel free to sign up. I don't spam you. I just want to give you motivational insight and push you and elevate you to the next level. And I also have a free Facebook group community that I just started for creative entrepreneurs who want to learn how to grow their business or even start their business and gain knowledge to get the confidence to actually pursue your dreams. So that being said, that's all for today's video. I'm so thankful for you guys like hearing me out, those who stayed and listened to my story. And yeah, that's all for today's video. And make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next week with another video. Peace.